In 1941, in Belfast, Northern Ireland, while World War II was still raging, a young boy named Tom Hall ran toward the harbor. Ships were coming in, unloading cargo for the struggling city. Among the workers was his father, carefully lowering a large wooden crate from a ship. When the crate was opened, something incredible was inside. Tom's father gently led the little elephant through the streets toward the local zoo. People stopped and stared in amazement. Curious crowds began following them, whispering and pointing at the unusual sight. But when they reached the zoo gates, the strict keeper, Charlie, refused to let anyone in, including Tom. Disappointed, Tom had no choice but to wait outside. A little while later, his father came back and invited him in. Tom's dad was the zoo's veterinarian. Inside, Tom's eyes lit up. He carefully reached out and touched the elephant, the largest land animal he had ever seen. His father smiled and told him to give the elephant a name. After thinking for a moment, Tom chose the name Buster. The next day at school, the children were practicing air raid drills. They sat under their desks wearing gas masks, preparing for the possibility of a sudden German attack. Later, while gathered in the shelter, terrible news spread through the city. All adult men were being called to serve in the war, including Tom's father. Tom was terrified. He feared his father might never come home, but duty was duty. Before leaving for the front lines, his father gave Tom a small toy elephant as a goodbye gift. The following day, Tom secretly climbed over the zoo fence to visit Buster. Suddenly, the zoo's owner arrived with a replacement veterinarian named Jack to check on the elephant.
It's medicine. One a day keeps the doc away. This is some we pet rabbits on.
Dad always warms it up first.
On his way home, Tom saw a group of bullies throwing a dead guinea pig at Mrs. Austin's house. Tom picked up the small animal and knocked on her door. Inside, he was surprised to see animals roaming freely everywhere. Mrs. Austin quickly chased him out when she saw him, but before leaving, Tom handed her the guinea pig. It turned out the poor creature had been one of her pets that had escaped. That night, bombs fell on Belfast. Sirens wailed. Explosions shook the streets. People ran for shelter, including Tom and his mother. The next day, Tom skipped school and ran into his classmate Jen. He invited her to the movies, and they stayed out late before heading home. On his way back, Tom spotted another classmate, Pete, playing soccer with his younger brother. At school, Pete later threatened Tom, warning him not to tell anyone about his brother's physical disability. After school, Tom went to the zoo again, only to find it surrounded by soldiers. His heart dropped. The soldiers had been ordered to shoot and kill all the animals in the zoo. Panic rushed through him. Without thinking, Tom climbed up a tree, desperate to see what would happen next. When he came to his senses, Tom immediately remembered Buster and rushed to the little elephant's enclosure. He felt an overwhelming sense of relief when he saw that Buster was still alive. But then Jack showed up and ordered him to leave. The next day, Tom met Jen and told her everything that had happened at the zoo. After hearing the story, Jen offered to help him get Buster out of there. Once they finished talking, they headed to an old zoo gate that hadn't been used in years. They struggled to open it. Jen suggested asking Pete to join them since he was stronger and could help force the gate open. After convincing Pete to be part of their plan, they finally managed to open it. That night, as they gathered to prepare, Pete unexpectedly brought his little brother, Mikey, along. And once everything was ready, the rescue of Buster began. When they reached Buster's enclosure, the three of them quickly let him out.
Much bigger than I expected.
An elephant.
Wrap that around your wrist and hold
But halfway through their escape, Charlie caught them. Luckily, he only scolded them and allowed Tom, Jen, and Pete to take Buster. Charlie understood. They were only trying to save the elephant. Deep down, he knew the zoo was no longer safe. They brought Buster to their usual hangout spot. That's when they realized Mikey was missing. Without them noticing, he had been caught by a night patrol officer. While Jen and Pete went to look for Mikey, Tom nearly got caught by patrol officers himself. Thinking quickly, he decided to hide Buster at Mrs. Austin's house. At first, Mrs. Austin refused to let him in, but because she truly loved animals, the old woman eventually agreed to shelter Buster. The next day, Pete rushed to Tom and Jen in a panic. Mikey had been escorted home by the police. They were terrified that Mikey might have told the officers about their plan to sneak Buster out of the zoo. But to their relief, Mikey hadn't said a word about the elephant. After that, the three of them went to Mrs. Austin's house. Jen and Pete were shocked to see Buster there. They had always thought Mrs. Austin was some kind of witch, but it turned out she was kind-hearted. The following day, Tom grew worried because Buster refused to eat. Mrs. Austin told him to try giving the elephant mushrooms. Suddenly, police officers arrived with Jack. They had received reports about strange noises coming from Mrs. Austin's house and forced their way inside. Fortunately, Tom had already moved Buster before they entered. The next morning at school, a bully named Vernon announced that he planned to find the missing elephant and collect the reward from the zoo owner. News about Buster's disappearance had spread. It was even printed in the newspaper. The article revealed something alarming. Buster had a medical condition and needed to take medicine every day. Tom suddenly remembered that Jack used to give Buster medication, and the medicine had been kept on a shelf inside his enclosure at the zoo. That night, as Tom prepared to sneak back to the zoo to retrieve the medicine, something unexpected happened. Suddenly, people began running in every direction, trying to escape the attack from the Nazi German forces. After running for a long time, Tom finally found Jen. He decided to cancel the plan to retrieve Buster's medicine, but Jen insisted on going anyway. Worried about her, Tom followed her to the zoo to help.
I knew you'd come, Tom.
After they managed to get Buster's medicine, they parted ways in the middle of the street. Jen hurried home, anxious about her father's safety, while Tom had to return to the shelter where his mother was waiting. The next morning, when things had finally calmed down, Tom stepped out of the shelter and was shocked to see how devastated everything had become.
Buster! You okay, Miss Austin?
At school, Tom couldn't find Jen anywhere. He kept asking Pete if he had seen her. Suddenly, his teacher called him over and told him the heartbreaking news. Because of last night's attack, Jen had died.
We pray for the men and women who helped the injured.
Little friend.
At Mrs. Austin's house, Tom told her about Jen's death. Hearing the news, Mrs. Austin tried to comfort him and lift his spirits. A few days later, Vernon spotted Tom coming out of Mrs. Austin's backyard. Suspicious, he decided to sneak a look. Suddenly, he heard the sound of an elephant from inside. That's when Vernon realized that Tom was the one who had taken the elephant from the zoo. At school, Vernon began intimidating Tom. Luckily, Pete quickly stepped in and separated them. But Vernon went too far. He insulted Pete's younger brother for his physical disability, which made Pete lose his temper and punch him. Feeling that his secret was no longer safe, Tom decided to go to the zoo and meet Jack. There, he confessed everything. After that, Tom brought Jack to Mrs. Austin's house to check on Buster's condition. Tom decided it was time to finish what he had started. They were going to return Buster to the zoo.
Shortly after the last devastating raid, the Allied forces took control of the skies. It was then we knew our job was done.
Sometime later, after the Allied forces successfully drove the German troops out of Ireland and the situation had become safe again, the zoo finally reopened. Tom, Pete, and Mikey invited Mrs. Austen to walk around the zoo with them. Inside, they felt truly happy seeing all the animals safe once more. Eventually, they arrived at Buster's enclosure. Suddenly, Tom's father appeared from behind them. In that moment, they all looked at Buster with pride, remembering the hard work and courage it had taken to save him. Later, Tom visited Jen's grave. There, he placed the small toy elephant his father had given him on top of her headstone and softly said, "We did it."
Believe you could have it, and I know of sadness, the anxious and panic, the infinite vastness of all that